sky, trying to make me see your stars. But the dark gets so lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence. And the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky. You'll always be my night sky. You're the night sky, hiding behind dark grey clouds. I can't figure you out now. I see you're blue. There is so much cold in you, and the silence is so loud when you go.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Black and White Show on Nova Radio Northeast 102.5 FM. I'm joined by Rob, Paul and Lee, all the lads from Newcastle Fans TV. As per usual, I'm your host, Kyle Thompson, and we've got loads to talk about on this evening's show. Firstly, we're going to be talking about the Villa game in depth. Secondly, we'll be summing up the week. And thirdly, we're going to do a worst Newcastle United team of the decade. So that's one way I'm looking to interact with the comments and everything like that. So that should be a good one. But tomorrow, football's finally back for Newcastle. We can all pretend to like England and enjoy what's saying it's coming home and things like that.
I know you hate it. I know you hate it.
But
Stop talking about me.
The real stuff comes back tomorrow, and we'll play Aston Villa at Villa Park, and it's one of them games, isn't it? I mean, with Sunderland in the third tier of English football and Borough soon to be joining them in the third tier of English football.
Get your digs
A
in.
derby is not. A derby seems to be very far away. Even Newcastle Benfield's Twitter were getting involved, saying there's not going to be a derby, so get yourself on to watch Newcastle Benfield versus Sunderland RCA at the weekend. So it's quite far away. Even non-league teams are having a dig. But for especially on our side, I think this is one of them games where you think, looking on the calendar, this is probably the biggest in terms of wanting to get a win over. And Lee, I want, like, for the first part of the two-part preview that I've got, I want to talk about the spectacle that is like Newcastle versus Aston Villa in recent years. And Lee, I want to come to you first, because I know at this table there's a particular hatred for Aston Villa, and it stems from you.
I don't think it's just me on this table.
No. The main hatred is you. I know Paul has a dislike, and I'm going to come to Paul, but I'm going to come straight to you, Lee. Where did the hatred for Aston Villa begin for you?
I think it's most of a recent rivalry. It's when the day we got relegated, and that hot summer day down Birmingham, and Damien Duff scored the own goal, and they had two banners. That was Who's Going to Save You Now, and Deck was one of them. But that's not
the Geordie might get the Geordies that might get the job.
It's not the most famous one, because the other one was, of course, the big one, which was over the barrier of the stadium, was Sob on the Tyne, and it was. It really stemmed from there, because I think Newcastle fans were, for the first time, experienced relegation. For me, that was the first ever time. I know we've been relegated in the 60s, 70s, whatever, but for me and a lot of Newcastle fans who were at the time under the age of 30, it was hurt, but it was like they were putting a knife in your heart as well, and they didn't just do it once. Of course, the famous one under...
Yeah, but the second time, Lee, they were kind of bottom of the table and relegated with, 13 points?
They're just stemming it. They're trying to create something. They've done it again, Sob on the Time, again, in brackets. And another one about Ant and Deck. And, of course, we weren't officially relegated until Sunderland played a few days later.
Well, after we played Villa that day, relegation was all but confirmed.
Yeah,
because
Sunderland...
we were dreadful that day, I remember.
Sunderland then went on to beat Everton. And for me, I just don't like the set of fans. Like Cardiff, I've mentioned this before, Cardiff were relegated at St James's Park. We didn't do that. No. So, I mean, we wouldn't go on like that.
There's no classes there. At the end of the day, do you remember when we lifted the Championship trophy down, was it Plymouth? And they got relegated. That was class. What Aston Villa did on that day lacked any class whatsoever. And it left a really foul taste in many supporters' mouths. And, you know, you don't forget situations like that, karma and everything like that.
For me, also, I think it also stems from I don't like the accent. I'll say it right now.
I mean,
It was unprovoked.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
you have a dig at me for not liking Redcar, but I dislike the accent.
I don't like the Birmingham accent.
I
But they take the mick out of the Geordies. Because
everyone takes liberty out of the Geordies. So
but everyone loves the Geordies.
According to reports, we're the hardest accent to understand in the country.
Probably it is.
I don't think any of these people that have done these reports have heard Scouse before, but there you are. I mean, I dislike because of the accent. How weird.
I don't like Birmingham. Hello, my TV. I just want to give some information, really.
I mean,
how am I? It's like Paul Howard batters up.
I think someone's
back me up, Paul.
I think someone's looking for likes on Twitter, mate.
See, Paul agrees with me. Yeah,
I must admit, it is one of them accents that it grinds on me. There are as well. I know people who support Aston Villa, and they're not a nice bunch, to be honest. But apart from anything else, what really grabs me is they think they're such a massive, big, huge club. Yet I remember as soon as the results started to go. I mean, I got into football in the early 90s onwards. As soon as they get any bad results, the attendance has dropped, the support walked away, and again, they're a bit like Nottingham Forest. They bang on about these glory days. Yet we get sort of taken up with, you're living in the past constantly. But clubs like Aston Villa are absolutely trenched in the past. Nottingham Forest, trenched in the past. I don't like them. I mean, from all my time as a child supporting Newcastle, we were at the top of the league. And yeah, that first relegation left a very, very bad taste. The banners, the banter, the digs where other teams were saying, commiserations, you'll come back up. They were absolutely enjoying it. And I think they're beyond the station. They think they're bigger than what they are, and I'm certainly looking forward to going down there and turning them over.
I have to echo that as well. They do think that they're a big club.
So, what happens if the three who are going down there tomorrow?
We just stay quiet. I know what's coming here.
If Villa beat what's going to happen then?
We just don't mention it.
I was just going to put the videos on like kind of.
We'll just say the beat were fair and square, but. To be honest though, I'm quite optimistic. We've got a good record against Villa. I know it's all the records are there to be broken, don't get me wrong, but if they do turn us over, and obviously some Villa fans might come back to this video, we'll just stay quiet. But of course, if we win, Kyle...
If we win...
I don't think me and Paul are going to stay very quiet, to be honest.
I mean, the other YouTube channels where they aren't the only ones who are strutting about, shall we say, and doing all of that. I just can't wait. I am confident as well. I think we will go down there, and I'm determined, positive, everything. We are going to get a result down there. They've got their selection issues and problems and stuff like that, but it is, as soon as the season came along, I looked for this fixture. To me, it is an absolute 100% grudge game during the season. Can't wait to do it.
Indeed. Well, we haven't heard from Rob yet, so Rob, I'm gonna drop this straight on your toes because you're known as the stat man on Newcastle Fans TV. Right. When did we last beat Aston Villa? At Villa Park.
At Villa Park,
yes.
It was September 2013.
September 2013. What was the score and who scored?
2-1. Hatton Ben Arfa scored the opening goal. Then Christian Benteke equalised halfway through the second half. 6 minutes later, Johan Gouffran scored the winning goal from a rebound.
Yeah, I'm impressed with that you got it straight away. If I recall, Ben Arfa says after this game, because he scored against Fulham the week before,
yeah.
And he was like, I can win the Ballon d'Or and everything like that, and obviously one thing led to another, and we didn't keep him on, but Rob got it in one. My take on Villa is obviously a couple of years ago, obviously when they relegated for the first time, I didn't have a sour spot with them the second time round because we knew it was coming, kind of thing. The lad that done the banner was saying that he was going to have another banner waiting for and things like that. So it didn't hit as hard when we got the 0-0 draw at Villa Park, and obviously they were already down as well. So it's kind of can't say anything because that Villa team that season was horrendous. It's one of the worst. I think it was the worst to date. It was the worst team I'd seen after Derby County when they finished on 9 or 10 points. so they really couldn't say anything that season. But my take on it is that the first one hurt, it did, and none of you have mentioned this, but I think we actually got Wakama back with through Henry Lansbury.
Yeah,
I knew
I was going to say it.
I knew you mentioned. I know you mentioned Nottingham Forest, but Henry Lansbury with Nottingham Forest. That's where he kind of made his hatred for Newcastle fans.
Do you remember that one?
Yeah, he gave.
I'll be back on the page.
He got 2 Newcastle players sent off that day, and obviously Caldwell saved the 2 penalties, but we went on to lose that game, and there was just this divine hatred for one, the referee that night, and 2, Henry Lansbury, and he moves to Aston Villa in the January, and obviously we knew we were playing them in the February, and I remember just finishing work on time. I blagged to finish early, so I could go along to a pub and try and want to get to watch this game, and to see Henry Lansbury score an own goal, I think. To get an instant karma like I did, it felt great, and that's like when the book closed for me on the hatred for Aston Villa. I don't like. There's a dislike there, but there's not a true hatred that there used to be because
we haven't got any local derbies this season. So
we have. We've got Burnley.
Bring on Burnley. Come on, Burnley.
Yeah, I want to see us approach this Aston Villa game as a true rivalry. But speaking of stats from earlier, here's a question for you. Who was the Aston Villa manager the last time they beat us?
The last time they beat us?
What year was it?
Well, in the Championship.
It was April 2011.
Martin O'Neill?
Nope.
It was just after Martin O'Neill then.
Gerard Houllier? Was that before?
Yeah, correct. Gerard Houllier.
Oh, I remember because the proper trounced word Villa Park. I remember watching it with my dad, and I was foaming that day because Villa actually had a really good team back in 2011 when they last beat. Where they had the likes of Ashley Young, they had James Milner.
Yeah,
they had a really good team back then, and thankfully they don't have as good a team now. But there'll be more on that in the next part of the show. But for me, it is a big game tomorrow. Obviously, we're on a good bit of form at the minute. We've won the last 2, and as Isha said in the big preview that we'll put up on the channel, we're closing on a 3rd win from 3 for the first time since last year, when obviously we went on that bit of a run after a bad start of the season. So going into tomorrow, lads, what do you actually think will happen to you? I want a couple of predictions. I want a couple of predictions from the comments. Is there any comments that stand out, Lee, in terms of the spectacle that is Aston Villa versus Newcastle tomorrow?
Yeah, JW Mazoon is giving us his pleasure of Aston Villa. I'll put it politely.
Pleasure. Let's have a look.
Yeah, he's not being very nice about Aston Villa. David reckons Miguel. So was that Miguel Almiron will score? So he's due one, isn't it?
I would absolutely love Miggy to score. I know I said every single trip, Miggy to get one, he's going to get one. But it's just like everything else is there. I'm just desperate for the lad to score. He scored internationally, didn't he? He scored, and I was like, please let that happen in the Newcastle shirt. The lad is an absolute gem. I just wish people would get off his back a little bit.
Well, Isha was giving Rob a run for his money actually with these stats in our preview, and Miguel Almiron's doing actually quite well for Paraguay at the moment. 2 in his last 4, or 2 in his last 3 in terms of goals, and that's I've got a bit of an update because my mates just messaged us. Sheffield United 3, Man United 3. I mean, it was 2-0 to Sheffield United when I last checked. And I heard there was a bit of an argument between Alex Ferguson and Ed Woodward. They should have arguments more often because it gets them scoring goals. But that's just an update from the latest Premier League game. But in the next section,
you heard it here first because BBC haven't updated theirs yet.
See, I'm not
You're on the ball.
But see, breaking content on the Black and White Show, only on the Black and White Show as well, might add.
Yeah,
but on
there's no bad language on this channel as well.
No, there isn't. But more on that later with saint-maximin. But in the next podcast, there's been a couple of comments on the preview asking for like a more tactical breakdown. I think Lee needs to bring back his big whiteboard. But no, in the next
maybe use lots to just get more clued up.
In the next part of the show, I think we're going to do a more tactical breakdown, how we're going to set up, how Aston Villa are going to set up, and things like that. As I've seen a couple of comments for it, and I'm a man of the people, so if they ask, I shall deliver. But that's in the next part of the Black and White Show. So breakdown tactically in a couple of minutes. So see you in a few. Welcome back, everyone. Part 2 of the Black and White Show. I'm joined by Rob, Paul, and Lee, the lads from Newcastle Fans TV, and I'm also your host, Kyle Thompson. And in this next part, we're going to be talking about more in depth of a preview, more of a tactical breakdown against Aston Villa on tomorrow night, as the lads from I was going to say NUFC fan TV there, NFTV. The lads, as always, will go down in one numbers, 2s and 3s. But tactically, I want to just get straight into it. Rob, how do you see Newcastle setting up versus Aston Villa?
Well, I'm a big believer in the saying, if it's not broken, don't fix it. We've had back-to-back wins, West Ham and Bournemouth, and because Aston Villa are definitely on a par with those two teams that we've had in the recent past, then why not keep it the same way? So in terms of the system, of course, we've got Lascelles out until the new year, which is a shame. And potentially 1 or 2 further injuries, perhaps. But in terms of the system, we've got it working. Let's keep with it.
For me, I agree. Since we've started playing this system of like a 5-2-3 kind of wing backs are really high up kind of thing, we're seeing a lot more of the ball. I think the wingers are getting a lot more chances, and it's actually quite enjoyable because we're getting the ball forward. A lot of join the midfield. The passing's good at times. And I think the last couple of games we've actually looked quite convincing, to be fair.
Screaming at the beginning of the season, prior to that Leicester game, we were screaming out for the fullbacks just to be pushed on because they were so deep. And then that was making the midfield was dropping deep, and you have like 5 defenders sitting across the back and over 2 older midfielders. But the licence that they have got in Yedlin consistently being the furthest man forward, or Williams as well, which I think was the Man United game. That was a perfect example. They're well suited to be able to get those killer balls in and create chances and to score goals. It's fantastic to see. And it's also good to see as well, I think, that Bruce, like you said though, Rob, going back to the old adage of if it isn't broke, then why change it? Go back to what was working last season.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one thing I've got in my notes here is like Villa with the 2 wingers that they have and the two fullbacks that they have, especially against Wolves when I watched them a couple of weeks ago, the wingers don't really help them defensively and they don't track back as much. And through the likes of Adama Traore and Jota, Wolves will manage to counter attack so well and manage to get in behind so much. And in fact, 2 of the goals came from the right hand side through Adama Traore playing the ball into the box. Obviously, the first one went in. Ruben Neves hit it from distance, but Villa are like they can be good, but against lower sides in the league, I found like the wingers are getting forward and they're not really getting back through Trezeguet, who actually made Rob's combined 11 in the preview, and the lad on the other flank. But I think in terms of what Villa provide, I think it plays into our hands a little bit from a counter-attacking perspective. But Lee, I'll get your thoughts on this. What's your take on how we should set up tactically tomorrow?
How or should?
How? We're going to both. Expert.
They're scoring a lot of goals, Villa, but they're also conceding. Whereas we're the opposite. We don't score many and don't concede many. So it's a question mark of what gives. I think if you don't give Wesley service, a bit like Joe Linton, he's a bit of a ghost.
Yeah. But
if he has service, and I'm sure you'll talk about him later, he's a bit of a beast. I think you've got to be careful of what John McGinn does. He reminds me of very much of Lampard when he played for Chelsea. He likes to break it in the box late.
John McGinn to Lampard.
Well, he's got over 10 goals, including club and country this season. So he's Bruce said he's best by 2 million or 2.5 million. Defensively, I think the weak, except from Tyrone Mings, has probably been their outstanding defender. I would imagine they'll put Mings on Joe Linton.
Well, Target had an awful time with Adama Traore, so for me, get Alan Saint-Maximin on him straight away.
I'm waiting for a pun.
Yeah. How are you, Rob, if you're thinking of one?
Come on, get it out.
Just get it out the way, because
I was more thinking of stats, to be honest.
No. Well, Howard and Statman. I prefer the Statman to the pun man.
So you want me to come up with a pun between Target?
No. We were just waiting for it to come.
But
I can't really think of one, to be honest.
That's fantastic. Let's move on. But just touching on John McGinn, actually, comments. Do you agree with Lee in saying he's a very similar player to Frank Lampard?
In terms of getting forward late in the box, that's what I mean.
Yes, that's what I'm going to get to the comments with. Do you agree he's a Lampard type of player, or would you say he's somewhat like someone else? If you're going to compare John McGinn to a previous Premier League player, who would you compare him to? The comments below let one know. But I've got John McGinn in my 3 players that Villa have that we need to watch out for, actually. So I think the midfield battle tomorrow is going to be very important. I feel if John Joe Shelby and Hayden are going to be in the midfield, which is what I think it'll be, obviously they're going to have to make sure John McGinn doesn't get in behind, and obviously Isaac Hayden's key tomorrow for me. He's going to have to do a lot of the dog work, and he's going to have to make sure John McGinn doesn't get into this game. But to be fair, I wish we had a guest this week, HITC Sport, because the next person I've got on this list is the former Irishman turned Englishman, Jack Grealish. And Paul, I'll come on to you with this one. How would you go about stopping Jack Grealish?
He's just come back from an injury, hasn't he?
Yes.
And I think he's a player that may take a few games to get back into it. So, to me, like I said, I'm not worried about him. I think we'll boss midfield, no matter what combination that we go in there. I think we will boss the midfield, and I can't say anything but a Newcastle United victory. I really, really can't. I'm ultra confident on this one. He's a good player, but like I say, he'll need a few weeks to get back up to speed. And I wouldn't be surprised if he even started on the bench. You know, it's a big game. They've already got a few injury concerns here and there, so will he throw him back into the mix and pot?
Personally, I think he will, because looking at Villa's last 3 games, obviously they've played Liverpool, they've played Man City, and they've played Wolves. So for me, they'll be looking at this game thinking, right, this is one where we need to get 3 points.
If they push him back, it's that old adage, isn't it? It's their star player. And like, we've got to get the ball. We just need to dictate the play. We shouldn't be going there with any trepidation whatsoever. And it doesn't matter if Grealish plays or whoever plays, we will win that football match. I am so confident.
Paul. I think
we've got to dictate the play.
Bruce is starting to slowly get his team what he wants, and we're seeing.
I like this. It's positive.
The stats prove that we're having a lot more possession. It's not great, but it's better. We're having a lot more shot at goal. We're taking more ownership. So it's only a matter of time if we'll play like that. Joe Linton, Saint-Maximin, Almiron, they should start now scoring if that run continues, because at the start of the season we were struggling to get 3 or 4 shots off. So I think it's more about us rather than them.
I think, to sort of expand on that, I think it will beat us in the last 20 minutes, because Aston Villa have a disastrous record in the last 20 minutes of matches. They're really good at sort of starting games, but finishing them, goodness me.
So limps in the last minute for a winner, I'll take that. Paul, you're getting strangled if this happens.
I'm fine, I'm on my own.
Already this season, though, quite importantly, Aston Villa have dropped 11 points from winning positions, which...
So if we go 1-0 down, don't worry lads, we're getting back into it. But for me, Jack Grealish is a dangerous one if he starts, because one thing he's very good at is getting in between the midfield and the defence. And obviously I know we'll play a flat 5 and 3 centre-backs, which he might find a little bit more difficult getting behind of. But that being said, he is a very tricky player. He's good at getting that extra yard. He's good at getting a shot off. I mean, he helped us a couple of years ago when he helped us win the championship, and that was cutting in onto his right peg and putting
David
it past
Stockdale, I love you.
David Stockdale, who gave us a lot of stick a couple of weeks prior, saying the title was already Brighton's, and oops. But if you're listening, David, I'm sorry. Well, I'm not, but I am.
Darlow lad, isn't he, Rob? It's from your neck of the woods, isn't he?
Yes, he spent a good proportion of his career. I think he is from the northeast. Darlington, though, not so sure.
Because didn't he donate money when Darlington were going liquidating?
No, I think he jumped ship a good 2 or 3 years.
I'm sure he donated money.
Quite possibly.
Hashtag DL postcards. Is that what you know about?
it was good to see a local lad in making a name for himself, and I think it was unlucky to be sold off when Brighton got promotion. But anyway, that's a Brighton issue, not a Newcastle issue. So
that's the story of David Stockdale over the past couple of years. I haven't seen his name much, so I think
went to Birmingham, didn't he, after Brighton?
I think Rob's covered it quite well. The final 3 of the players that I've got as a watch out for, Lee, you touched on him before. Wesley, for me, remains as a bit like Rondon. He's a unit. He can get forward. He holds.
Let it go.
You're saying that to me, but you've got a Rafa scarf over there. I mean,
I love you, Rafa.
For me, Wesley's a great hold-up man. He can bring players into the game, and obviously with the likes of John McGinn, the likes of Jack Grealish, it is a worry, because if you can bring them players into the game, or Trezeguet on the wing, it is going to cause problems. And with our physical centre halves in Lascelles and people like that being out, and Kieran Clark as well, who's a doubt, it is going to be a difficult evening or evening if you Emery. But the likes of Fernandes, Shea, or even Lejeune, who might be coming back from injury, who knows? If they are to play tomorrow, they're going to have a rough night with Wesley, because they're not as physical as him. He does have the physical advantages over them. So for them type of players, Rob, I'll come to you. How does Fernandes, possibly Lejeune, Shea, or Paul Dummett, how do they get make way over the advantages that Wesley has in terms of strength, heading ability, and things like that?
I hadn't really prepared for this question, but it's going to be a tough ask. But to be honest, for me, I'm not a fan of Wesley. I've not really been impressed by his start at Aston Villa. Yeah, he does have these positive moments where he does bring people into the game, but for me, he is pretty much on a par with Joe Linton with how both of their starts at their new clubs have gone. And to be honest, Villa, just like us, they've been relying on their non-strikers to get them the goals that they've needed to stay out of the relegation zone.
Physicality, I think, as well, though, Rob. If our defence can physically dominate him for 10-15 minutes, see his head drop, I think he's one of them players, like you've said, that we can put off the game.
Stop the service.
Yeah, and
that's
then
it.
Just literally starve him of it. But if Fernandes is playing, get him on him and give him a couple of meaty tackles. It's going to be freezing down there. Put him off, and then build it from there.
I think he started better than Joe Linton. He's got 4 goals in the Premier League. That's 1 and 3.
You say stop the service, but to be honest, when we use the system of 5 at the back, it's more like we can't stop the service, but we more or less deal with the service when it comes in.
So when I say stop the service, that means your left wing back, whoever that may be, we're going to be Jetman Williams, or your right wing back, which is going to be Yedlin. Stop the crosses. Don't give away any daft set pieces around the edge of the box or to the left, to the right. And you mentioned Hayden. I think you've just got to be careful of John McGinn running at that box for any loose balls, because that's why he's been scoring a lot of his goals, like Cannon. Just drop him to him nice just inside the box. He fires a bottom corner.
Keep it tight.
Just be aware.
25 minutes.
Easier said than done, mind.
But it is. But I'm still more than confident. Keep it tight for them first 20-25 minutes. See some of their more flair-type players heads drop, and then come into the game and hit them using, like you say, the pace that we've got, and the fact that their second-half performances aren't exactly lighting the world up. And I think we could come out comfortably from this game.
You see, where I think we can win this game is set pieces. Because in the past couple of games, West Ham in particular away from home, and then we'll win against Bournemouth, they've all got one thing in common. We've scored from set pieces, and yes, you can say the defence is carrying with, the defence is doing this, they're doing that, but they're getting on the end of these set pieces, and that's the main thing. They're clearly being worked on in training, and that's where the praise goes to Steve Bruce, I think, in his team of coaches and things like that. They've been working on these set pieces, and it's starting to show, because they've had a similar tactic where they knock on the ball and then the defender puts it in the net. Kieran Clark and Fernandes have both profited from this in recent weeks. For me, I think it can be won and lost there. I know they have Tyrone Mings at the back, and he's probably one of the players I would have put in me one to watch. But obviously they've got better technical players that can harm us.
We're always going to as well. We're always going to get free kicks for having the likes of ASM and Miggy up there.
Yeah.
Tricky players, fast players, hitting players on with power and pace. They're going to give Aston Villa are going to give away free kicks.
Yeah.
And with the likes of the units that we've got at the back, it's always going to be difficult. Kieran Clark has got an absolute knack, and he would love, I'm sure, to play the game and to notch again.
I think Kieran Clark will be doing everything he can to get back.
Yeah, he'll want to play against.
Because if he's fit, he can't be dropped.
It's his previous club as well.
I know we're going to be having our 11 later on in the show, but for now, Lee has got a clip on his magical little computer where he's going to play a clip of myself and Johnny talking about that. So here's a clip. Most worried about is probably Wesley.
because we're physical defenders out injured at the moment in Lascelles and Clark. So I think Wesley's going to look to put the pressure on the likes of Fernandez and Paul Dummett if Paul Dummett starts. And for returning Lejeune and everything like that, it could be a worry. Wesley reminds us a lot of Rondon from last season, where he holds up the ball. He's got a ferocious shot. He showed that against
Big word.
he showed that against Everton when they beat them 2-0 at Villa Park a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So he's a dangerous striker, and he's the one to watch out for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm looking at Jack Grealish. I think he'll be fit for this game. I think this is the game that they're probably targeting to be back for.
Yeah.
He's been injured. There was rumours of being in the England team as well, or the England squad rather.
Not the Irish one, then.
He's the most foul player in the Premier League this season. We've got to try and keep him quiet, but I think we've got the midfielders and the defence to do that, though, Kyle.
I'd agree. I mean, we've got with injuries, but we're fortunate to have a very blessed amount of depth in defence, because we've got the likes of Fernandez there, we've got Dummett, Clark's out injured, you've got the return of Lejeune,
It's 50-50 Clark, isn't he, at the minute?
returning Fabian Schär, so we have got the tools to deal with it at the back, but it's still going to be a rough night, like.
Yeah, I think, look, Monday night under the lights at Villa Park, the atmosphere is going to be brilliant. Villa don't like us. We don't really like Villa, so it's going to...
He likes
No, I don't like Villa. I just don't hate them as like every other Newcastle fan does. It's just, I've got mates that are Villa fans, so you can put like a little friends in between us, but if you want to.
I'm optimistic we can get a point, and if we play well, we can get 3. So I'm optimistic going down on the Monday night, but it is gonna be a difficult game, because Villa obviously going to be up for it. It's a first realistic game in about a month that they've had for winning. Obviously they get up for the derby and that, because it's obviously a local rivalry, but realistically they're the worst side out of the two teams.
Yeah.
So this, like at the start of the season, they realistically look at the calendar and look at the likes of Newcastle and teams like that as teams to beat. So us at home, they'll be wanting 3 points for sure. Like.
Steve Bruce against his old club.
Villa fans are going to have the coverages at the ready to welcome him back.
Well, I think after the Leicester game, I think we were probably going to get broccoli or something, or something like that. But he's turned it around a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, since I think the Leicester game, in the story of things, I think it's worked out, because since then we've been really good. We've only been beat off a very informed Chelsea side, and even then I don't think we deserve to lose the game. But he's starting to show a little bit of promise and show a bit of an idea of what he wants to do.
I'm not going to repeat that, but yeah, that was our clip from myself and Johnny talking about Aston Villa, and obviously how they've got this is a big game for them, and I really hope we can stand at the occasion. I mean, it feels similar to the West Ham game, because obviously we came to that with a little bit of scepticism. Obviously we're a bit more positive because we've had the 2 wins.
What a game that was!
I mean, so I'm hoping we can be 3-0 up after 50 minutes and everything's going to be rosy, Paul. But
Obviously, I told you so, Carl, didn't I? Told you so.
For sure. But the question I was going to ask regarding Wesley before I move on with team news with Isha, Rob, because you obviously touched on this a little bit before, we were linked with Wesley over the summer. Do you think Newcastle made the right decision in opting for Joelinton over Wesley in the summer?
Wesley cost about 25 million, am I right?
I'm sure it was 18 to 22 million it was.
But either way,
comments let we know.
Around half the price that Joelinton has paid, and so far this season, I know it's still slightly early doors to judge a player on a big move, new country, new brand of football, incredibly pacey brand of football. It's both players were always going to find it difficult. I think I knew Joelinton quite a lot before his move to Newcastle. I did not know Wesley at all through Club Brugge, wasn't it?
We spoke about it as being a risk, and Lee's just got it on his magical computer. He also has Google this one, so it's hitting the tip.
Good job, I'm good at what I'm doing.
It's at the big table when it comes to Google, but it was
other search engines are available.
Asking Jeeves, but no, 22 million was the fee for Wesley, and we obviously paid 39 million for Joelinton. So best for value at the moment. I think Aston Villa are getting the better that one. Paul, would you have took Wesley in the summer, or would you have opted for Joelinton?
I'd have kept Rondon. I've said this umpteen times.
I would have kept Rondon
saved
as well.
the money. I'd have spent 16 million and I'd have kept him. I think Joelinton, to me, he's still a player who's playing out of position from the time. And when I've seen him in Germany for Hoffenheim, and from the research that I did from when we signed him, generally he plays off another man. He needs
second striker.
He needs another striker up there, and he's a player that goes hot and cold, so he goes through bursts of goals. I still think the Joe Linton thing will come good, but I think he needs help. I would like to see Dwight Gale play up there if he's back fitting off his tours and everything, or Andy Carroll, just to give him a bit of help, and I think we'll see the best of him. And I still maintain, and I still believe that I think Joe Linton in the longer term will be the better. I mean, he's working hard, he's tracking back. I think he said he's been working with the likes of Steve Agnew, one of the famous Steves at Newcastle. And,
one of the many Steves. Make sure you get it right though, Paul. Make sure it's the right Steve. God forbid.
I wouldn't want to get my hand say stuff again. But yeah, he has been doing lots of work with the coaching team. And you can see that, and he is improving. You know, every game you see him, and he is putting the effort in, and he is tracking back, and he is trying. He has been starved of service, but I think to get the best out of him, Steve Bruce will have to tinker a little bit with the attacking shape of the front of Newcastle's team. But I think he's doing an okay job.
The chances are starting to come in for him, so for me, I think he needs to start taking them.
I think people need to get off his back a little bit as well.
Of course, yeah, but obviously the price tag comes with the territory. You've got to start scoring the goals. I've been a fond defender of him in the past couple of weeks.
I don't think
he's doing a lot of things right, but at the same time, people are expecting to
that shirt
do
as
more.
well, though.
Yeah,
you put that shirt on the back, and
it can be heavy.
Goals.
I mean, I remember Mickey Quinn at the talk that I went to the other week with him. I went with Johnny to. Obviously, Mickey Quinn was talking about his Newcastle days, and he wanted that shirt. He was like, "I want the number 9 over any shirt if I'm coming to Newcastle. That's the shirt I want." And for me, obviously, Joel wanted that shirt, but I don't think he realised how heavy the shirt actually is. And I'm not saying he's succumbed to the pressure.
Compare the
he
rest
gave
of
us that
strikers.
memory against Tottenham, and he gave Lee that video against Tottenham, and he made Lee cry a little bit.
He did. True story.
It made him very emotional.
He made Johnny celebrate more than a cricket win than he did in a football win.
Unbelievable! It was the best.
Shame on you, Johnny.
Best away day experience. That entire game, the goal, the defending, the fighting. But at the end of the day, Joe Linton, he's got 1 goal and one assist, is it? But that's still 1 goal and 1 more assist than what Andy Carroll and Dwight Gale were supposed to prove.
Yeah, very true.
Last year, it took Rondon a long time to get going.
It was about this time last year.
Yeah, it was in the Bournemouth game in the remembered Sunday weekend that he actually scored his first league goal for us.
And what a goal it was! It's a beauty header.
That was his third. That was his second of the day.
The League Cup as well.
Oh yeah.
No, let's not talk about the Paul. Let's not talk about the League Cup again. It's haunted for years, that one. But before we talk about what our threats are for Aston Villa, I've got another clip for our injury news, and our presenter Isha is going to talk through the team news going into tomorrow as well. So
I do have a clip ready, but I hope it's the right one.
Let's hope so. Lee, do you want to play the clip?
A lengthy international break is never welcomed when in winning form, and I don't like the idea that by the time it's Monday, it will be a whole 16 days since our Bournemouth win. It's not ideal, but there's not much we can do about that. So there's Kieran Clark, DeAndre Yedlin, who I'll come back to a little bit later when I touch on injury updates. Dubravka, obviously, he kept a clean sheet on Tuesday as Slovakia beat Azerbaijan 2-0. Almiron. Now, last Thursday, Paraguay beat Bulgaria in a friendly, and it was Miggy who scored the only goal of the game. So now that's 2 goals in his last 4 internationals. Now, getting on the score sheet for Newcastle is still hugely anticipated for him, but at least being able to find the back of the net on international duty instills the faith we have in him to get there eventually with us, and he did have a sensational all-round performance against Bournemouth. I personally can't wait to see more of the energy he brings to Villa Park on Monday. Matty Longstaff, he made his international debut with the England under-20, so his season just gets more and more exciting. Now let's just move on to injury updates. So starting on a positive, Steve Bruce said that Florian Lejeune and Fabian Schär are available for Monday's clash against Aston Villa. Schär has spent a month on the sidelines with a knee injury, whilst we haven't seen Lejeune in action since April due to a torn ligament. Bruce told a news conference that Lejeune and Schär have trained the past 2 weeks, and as long as they come through the next 2 to 3 days unscathed, both of them come into contention, and that can only be a good thing. So very positive news for us, and I'm particularly keen to see Lejeune back on the pitch. from the way Steve Bruce has spoken about him, he's very aware of the extra quality he has to offer, and it's evident he wants to find a place for him as soon as possible. And perhaps now's the perfect time for it. We are fortunate to have plenty of options at centre-back, and with Jamal Lascelles ruled out until the new year due to his knee injury, and Kieran Clark in doubt for Monday's game after picking up a knock whilst away with Ireland, it could be a great opportunity for Bruce to throw Lejeune his big chance.
And thank you to Isha who sent the clip in regarding the team news. So obviously, as just stated, Kieran Clark is obviously a doubt and hoping he can play. But say he doesn't play, who would come in for Kieran Clark, do you reckon? I know we're going to do our 11 in a couple of minutes or so, but who would you...
I'll go first on this. Assuming they're both fit, it's got to be Lejeune and Fabian Schär. Assuming they're both fully
ultimate
fit.
duo, they're just fantastic.
But if Kieran Clark is fit, question mark, why should he drop him? And he'll want to play this one as well. So it's a great problem to have. And then there's Paul Dummett. And then there's Paul Dummett as well, who's unfortunate to some extent. He had a bad game against Leicester. Can't really get back in. He was talking later on, we'll play a clip, he was talking that he can't get in there. This is the first time he's not experienced getting in the first team, but I think you've got to look at Lejeune and Schär if they're fit. Despite Clark being phenomenal.
Best two defenders.
Play your best team.
Yeah, for sure. Even though he's had a couple of fitness problems, you just jump
if they're fully fit.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Bruce has said he suggested, hasn't he, that both are fit.
If one's like 70%, I'll just play Clark. If one's like can't do the full 90, just play Clark. He's safe.
Right. Well, it's part of the show. I'm going to try and terrify Aston Villa fans. Yes, I'm going to try and terrify them and try and speak with the lads and explain.
Just tell them Geordie's on the way.
Who are our main players, or who are the main threats to the Aston Villa defence? The three I've got in my notes are Alan Saint-Maximin, Miggy Almiron, and John Joe Shelvey. It's more of a surprise one.
It's a bit of a surprise,
but I'm going to start with Alan Saint-Maximin. The past couple of games, this lad has been mad. Half the time I don't know if he thinks what he's doing with the ball is. I think he's that unpredictable. He doesn't know what he's doing, and that's a great thing. He's so pacey, he's so quick, he bombs up the field. Absolutely brilliant for a counter-attacking philosophy to have in your team.
It's great in the radio studios.
Even if, for example, his goal against Man United, as he says, Paul's fantastic in the radio studio. If he wants to come on the Black and White show, mate, you're more than welcome to. But Ofcom will not be very far behind if you do. But if you want to come on, mate, that's fantastic. I know
I'm not doing the control.
I know he's had his range of offers from other Newcastle platforms, but I can assure him this is the number one platform to come on.
Leading the way,
wants to go on. But back on to Saint-Maximin, I would say his goal against Man United proves what he could. Well, his assist or the way he ran up the field against Man United.
Hasn't gone yet.
It's coming. It hasn't quite worn off yet, and obviously he hasn't had a mention in the past couple of weeks. Has the long stuffs, but mentioning that goal, any chance I can get, I will take. He runs up the field. He plays outfield to Jethro Williams, and he obviously sets up long stuff for the Thunder Rocket. That was that goal that won 2 Goal of the Month awards, might I add, and give with the 3 points on his Premier League debut. I mean, whilst a fan before the game, and they were like, "Who were the long stuffs?" Well,
the Americans.
They know now.
Yeah,
the
Americans didn't know who the long stuffs were.
I know that either of them haven't been
the proper version scored.
They haven't. Exactly. I seen what's his name, man, from United Stand. It's not even the right long stuff. It's Goldbridge. It's the brother.
He didn't even know the name. He was like, it's M long stuff. It's not even S long stuff. The one we were after. But it was.
It's got a beautiful Nottingham accent.
Any Lee with the digs, but no, any chance.
It's the second best Man United channel.
Any chance to represent the local community in North Shields, I'll take, because obviously they've been in the squad, so I'm gonna
plug them. Let's hear your catchphrase again.
NA29, proud to be. But Rob, who would your main threat to Aston Villa's defence be?
Shall I give the answer as Rob Spiro or Carl Thompson?
Rob Spiro.
Because if it was Carl Thompson, say NA29.
The impression there.
I'll give him a 4 out of 10.
Is that for Almiron or for me?
No, for you.
Okay, so our biggest threat to Aston Villa's defence. Well, considering the way our goals have been scored this season, I think our defence has been a bigger threat to the opposition's defence this season. I really would. I'd say
That's fair enough.
if Clark is fit to play, I'd love it if he is, so he can get one over his former club.
Brilliant if he
Our
scored.
rivals. 3 in 3 games. That would be amazing. That would be brilliant for him. Great for his confidence, and it would send him to the top of the goal scoring charts for us this season.
Indeed.
Oh dear.
I'm
Paul,
not sure if that's sad or a great achievement.
Paul, who would your want to watch be for the
I
morrow?
will say it again. I've been banging this drum since the beginning of the season.
Delay
But
me with the long stuff, then.
it's got to be Miggy. And the reason I say that is, he's not been directly, he's not scored any goals, he's come close. But free kicks, he wins them. You talk about the Man United goal, he set the ball away to get it going. He wins the free kick down against
Bournemouth.
Yeah, so he's involved in virtually everything.
He won 2 of the free
everything we
kicks
do.
at West Ham as well.
Yeah, so you've got to give the lad credit. Yes, he hasn't scored, and it's not through a lack of trying or a lack of effort. You look at his running stats, his pace stats.
At the minute, he's being penalised because Saint-Maximin wants to play on the left and he's the better player going forward, and he's producing more than Almiron. He's not a right winger.
But look at what he's getting to
Yeah,
the team.
if you can play him in the right position, Paul,
Yeah.
you've got a player there.
Got to find a player, and I just think, and I mean, especially I saw him in the summer playing for his country, and he was playing like a number 10 almost, and I just looked at him and I was like, wow, what a player we've got. And again, it's another one. I don't think we need to jump on his back totally about the goals, because it's just one of them situations. I think when he gets one, he'll go on and score a few. Even when you think he's going to score, it hits his own player and then doesn't go in. But he's involved in everything good that we are doing going forward. So yes, he's not scoring, but he is assisting, he is winning free kicks, and he is making things happen.
Yeah, he's doing everything else. Leo, come on to you. Who's your key player?
I'm going to say Joe Linton, just to mix it up a bit.
Why Joe Linton?
Because these are all saying different people, just because I want to be that guy. I think first of all, I think he needs a goal. I think, although the other two haven't scored, I think Joe Linton needs it more now. Because he's, 12 games, 1 goal? At the end of the day, people are going to look at his stats after 38 games and look how many goals he's got, and if he's only sitting on 2 or 3, that's an issue. Although players around him are starting to perform, I guess that's one way I'll put it. I think Joe Linton, if he can just score in a confidence, and then we've got Sheffield United coming up, and Man City's probably not going to get looking. But I'd like to see Joe Linton, hopefully all 3 of them, everyone that said all 3 of them tonight, I'd love all 3 of them to get a goal. But for me, I'd like to see Joe Linton. I think he could be a handful.
How many do you think we're going to get?
I would love it, for all 3 of them.
I'm sure everyone would, but 3 or 4-0 in Villa, are we, lads?
I know, but I think out of all 3, I think Joe Linton for me needs it more now because strikers need goals. Saint-Maximin can go 10 games and take on 10 people, fine. But I think he's judged on goals and he needs to start scoring.
Well, for me, before I play a clip on Bruce's on the morale of the squad, I've got a question here. Does our counter-attacking threat through our high wing-backs help us against Aston Villa, or do you think Bruce needs to change the system on Monday?
I'd agree. I think it does help. We've seen Yedlin play a lot higher in Willems, and little things like we've got defenders taking throw-ins, like centre-backs taking throw-ins, like inside our attacking half. So I think that's the way to play forward. We're creating more chances. I think you've got to play that way.
I think Steve Agnew's been
he's getting a lot of praise, him, mind, and he's a few now.
A lot. I mean, I know ASM was talking about
and Joe Linton has.
And Joe Linton, just about the work that they are doing, and about passing and about getting it quickly and breaking quickly, getting crosses in, getting shots away, working together as a unit, and you can see definite progression. As far as I'm concerned, all the time we're getting better and better and better, and eventually one team is going to take a hiding off the 3 of the lads that we've got up front, and I would love
Please let that be Man City.
Love it to be. Well, I'd love it to be Aston Villa. I would be over the moon with 3 or 4 goals.
I didn't know we were joined by Kevin Keegan tonight, but
but somebody is going to get it, because the thing is, they've got the talent, they've got the work ethic, everything is starting to drop. They're getting used to the surroundings, they're working well with the coaches, lots of positive things coming out. Eventually, like I say, somebody is going to get an absolute beating.
As long as it's not Mechanica.
Oh yes, I hope he's not listening.
but
He's a Newcastle supporter, so possible.
Inside joke, everybody.
but
yes.
in terms before I go on to Bruce's clip, I'm going to go on to John Joe Shelby, and I'm going to kind of take the floor on this one. I think John Joe's got the keys to the kingdom on this one, kind of, because I know I spoke in praise about John McGinn, but I think John Joe, the way he plays, I think it's not very good. I think it's kind of Villa's kryptonite on how to come forward. So I think he's the best in terms of being able to respond to what they have, especially in the midfield. And as big as the midfield battle is tomorrow, I think John Joe Shelby has enough about him to really control that midfield and get amongst it. I know Douglas Luiz, who hasn't been mentioned so far, is a very good, energetic midfielder, but I think John Joe has the tools to kind of unglue him a little bit and try and get the long ball into the wing backs and things like that. So I think John Joe's one to watch as well for tomorrow. He's, in particular for me, I think he's key, like he was against West Ham a couple of weeks ago. But
so he can morph into another midfielder if he's key.
For God's sake. But now I've got a clip from Steve Bruce talking about the morale of the squad and how upbeat everything is at the moment, which is unusual for Newcastle. But Lee, if you want to play the clip, lad.
The difference in a couple of weeks and a couple of wins, what it does, especially to a club like ours, is quite remarkable. So, look, they're bouncing around the place. The training's been as lively as it's been. They're all champing at the bit. Of course, we picked up one or two knocks, but we've got one or two getting back fit. So let's hope we can keep the running going. And I said, after coming into now this run of games, after this international break, this next 5-6 weeks is probably the defining part of the season. The games come thick and fast. I think we've got 6-7 games in December, which is ridiculous, but so it will define the season and where we're going to be.
It's been pretty tough, I think, during my whole career of Newcastle, 100 and however many games I've played for the club now. I've never been in a situation where I'd been a regular starter and been dropped and not played for a period of time, really. So it has been difficult, but I've said in the past, I've been written off before and I've been dropped from the team, and it's one of those things that you have to never give up and carry on going. And for me to get back in the team, I have to just keep on working hard, and hopefully the manager puts me back in, and when he does, make sure that I keep myself in there and don't get pulled back out again.
So that was Paul Dummett and Steve Bruce about, Paul Dummett's got one side where he wants to get back into the team, and Steve Bruce talking about how upbeat everything is, which is the first time this season I think fans, it's been very upbeat at this table, and I think the squad's very upbeat as well. So it's a first this season, to be fair.
We're talking positive.
But it's unusual. I'm used to talking about death and other things on this show, but
Camera points to Rob.
Yeah,
the camera does point to Rob. But
was that about the time I talked about death, like back in June?
yeah, we've got an entire part dedicated to death.
Yeah, I remember.
And we'll talk about the death of Newcastle United for most of the summer, so it's nice to be positive for once. But let's go through our lineup, what we want to go with tomorrow, our predicted 11, as it were. So in goal, I think we'll all be in agreement, Martin Dubravka, to go between the sticks, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's agreed. I think we'll be in agreed as well, saying we're going to stick with the 5-2-3 formation as well, or we're not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right wing back, are we going with Yedlin, Croft, or Manquillo? Lee?
Yedlin, isn't it?
It's got to be Yedlin. Don't mention Kraft, it'll give me nightmares.
I mean, we're going on about a worst 11 soon, and Kraft might just make that lineup. Who knows? I think it'll be a bit unfair.
I think both your wing backs, because Richie's not fit, pick themselves.
For sure, but we're going to go for the entire team, Lee. I know you want to get the left wing back, but patience is a virtue.
He wants centre back. He wants centre back.
Well, let's go to the three centre backs. Who's starting for you? I'm going to go with Cher, Fernandes, and Clark, because I think Clark will make it. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I must admit, I think it'll be that. I don't think he's going to put Lejeune in straight away. I still think he's our best defender when he's fit.
Yeah.
But Fernandes, Clark, and Cher.
I think the only way that's different is if Clark isn't fit enough to play the game. I know Dummett has been speaking about how he wants to get back into the team, but I just don't see him getting in at the moment. Lee, do you agree?
I disagree.
Oh, we've got a disagreement. I wouldn't.
I would go, if fully fit, Lejeune, because he's our best national defender. Shea, because he's the best overall, he can do so much, and then I'd have Fernandez in the centre role.
So,
But I don't,
so if
because
Clark was
Clark,
fit,
because Clark doesn't make it in my team, because he's not fit. I
what
don't
if-
think it'll be.
What
worth-
if Clark is fully fit and so's Lejeune? You can't drop
I think
Clark.
Lejeune would then drop to the bench because he has no game time, and then you would give him 15, 20 minutes later on.
Exactly, so logic would say Clark.
But if fully fit, I wouldn't.
Okay, well, comments, let me know. Would you
But it's a
drop,
great problem to have.
would
But
you
you've
you
just
drop
talked
Clark
about-
2 and 2?
You just talked about Paul Dummett in the clip there. No one mentioned his name, and that's, how far he's dropped in a quick certain time.
Indeed, it's mad what a couple of months can do. Rob, what would your World 3 centre backs be?
Clark if fit,
Yes.
definitely. Share again if fit, definitely.
See, I think Fernandez has kind of went under the radar a little
Yeah,
bit. He scored against West Ham,
I
and
would-
he's been very solid.
I'd be more than happy to have Fernandez in there. For Lejeune, we can't see him, even if he is fit for tomorrow. I want him to be on the bench. I don't want him to start because since April, 7 months is a long time now. So
I think it's a bit too much to ask,
Yeah,
especially to deal with
yeah.
a presence like Wesley as well. I think it'd just be a bit too much, a bit too soon.
it's
Lejeune,
different with Share because he's only been out for a month. But,
Lejeune
yeah.
firing on all cylinders, I think, is probably one of his first, if not second best centre back. But I just think it's too much too soon.
Lejeune
For that, to be
is
honest.
one of the best in the league when he's fit and firing and on form. With the way he can get the ball fired forward, he's Mr.
It's
Reliable.
that question though. If you bring
record,
Lejeune in, is there any need for Shelvey?
Yeah,
So you have
because
to alternate his
yeah.
play.
That's the thing, and then you're taking away a little bit from Shelby, aren't you? If you're playing them, because they do like to
Great
play
problem to
that
have.
same,
It's a good problem.
Hollywood ball. That's why I think I still think long
That's-
term.
I think that's where Shelby's
I
I think Shelby's improved that in the past couple of weeks, to be fair. He's not going for the Hollywood ball every time he gets the ball. He's thinking, he's putting his head up and he's picking the easy passes. Because sometimes he can frustrate the life out of you when he's just going long ball, and it's not pulling off. And when it doesn't pull off, the crowd get behind him. And then he does something stupid like a daft tackle or something like that. And Bruce has
playing
been...
in Birmingham, not Hollywood. That's what he's got to remember. He's got to play
Exactly,
with the
it just needs
surroundings.
to be. Just needs when the pass is there. He's got more quality than anybody in that team to pick that pass out. But the pass isn't always there, so it's just a case of picking your head up, showing your experience, and showing why you deserve to be in that team. And I think he's doing that a lot, doing that more and more. So fair play to him on that one. But the three centre backs we're going to go for, I think, is Fernandez, Clark, and Shea. And left wing back picks itself, as Lee said before. Jetro Williams for me.
What, not Makeo?
No, definitely not. And I don't think Richie's anywhere near training
Sadly.
yet. So obviously it picks itself. Going into the two midfielders, I've obviously spoke highly of John Joe Shelby throughout this show. So I'm going to stick with John Joe Shelby, and I'm going to say he's going to be one of the midfielders. And Johnny from our channel, obviously down in Villa at the moment, he's been partying in Birmingham.
Oh, that's a great party.
No, carry on.
I've got a terrible...
No, you've done really well there, didn't you,
I
lads?
really didn't, but he's been partying down in Birmingham the past couple of days with his mates. Who
Is
are
that a
Villa
McDonald's
fans.
party? Ronald McDonald and Hamburger.
But he says Hayden and Shelby to dictate the play, so obviously his two are Hayden and John Joe. So I'm going to agree with Johnny and say they're the two in midfield. Matty, I think with the other two playing well, he's been kind of a unfortunate sacrificial lamb, because it came out that he was devastated. He got dropped at West Ham and against Bournemouth. So for me, I think if he's needed, he's ready to go. But I think Hayden and Shelby are the preferred two at the minute. Rob, what do you think?
Again, it's one of those nicer problems to have when you've got really good competition there and everyone is pulling their weight in fighting for a place in the team. Shelby, yes, it has to be. Hayden, yeah, it's... I
think from a tactical standpoint, Hayden's got to play. Because as
First choice, isn't he?
I said before, John McGinn is very important for them, and I think the way Hayden operates with his tackles and getting in behind, making sure he's in front of that back five is very important. So for me,
but by
Hayden's
all
got to
means, Sean or Matty Longstaff on the bench, then yeah, that's...
I think Sean's still got
Sean's
his
suspended.
One more
suspended.
game, hasn't he?
Yeah, but yeah, in future, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Shelby will start because Bruce has practically named him as captain.
Yeah.
So he's starting, and that would
Yeah,
mean
all the
Hayden.
major stuff, hasn't it? It's been led up to the fact that John.
And the front three, I think the front three picks itself as well. I'd go for Jolton up top, and then obviously the two winners being Almiron and Saint-Maximin, whichever way you want to go with them two. He's in agreement.
I don't like Almiron on the right,
So
because I think he's not. I think he's better on the left, but then Saint-Maximin prefers to play on the left, doesn't he? So
I've got a wild card for you. There you go.
don't say that too.
No, I know it's getting closer to Christmas, but it's not quite December yet, so I won't mention his name.
You say it's not
Dwight
December
Gale.
yet, but there's loads of Christmas decorations up in my house, and it's a mid-November, so sort it out, man.
I would say Dwight Gale has been banging a drum. Give me a chance. I can finish. Now, I don't think he's going to start Andy Carroll, because you are not going to get 70 minutes out of Andy Carroll, so
No.
forget about that. Dwight Gale, as we know from the Championship season, as we know from Palace before, and as we know at West Brom last season, he does know where the back of the net is. So why not, if you've got him on the books, you've kept him, you've said you've wanted him for all of these clubs you've been at, you've tried to buy him, why not give him a chance, take Joe Linton out of it for a little bit, and get him to come on in the second half when their defence is tiring, and he may be able to notch that way and get going with the goals. Give Dwight Gale a chance. Play him up top with Miggy and ASM.
There was a video this week of like the players training, and Andy Carroll had Joe Linton's life, like had him on the flight.
He sent him for an ice cream, didn't he?
Yeah,
it was quite embarrassing from a Brazilian point of view in any way. But Lee's just reminded us that if you want to get your predicted 11 in, you can contact through where it's on screen. Contact nftvstudio@gmail.com if you want to send a question to or anything like that, or get your predicted lineup in and we can read it out on the show. But that's our predicted 11 for tomorrow.
I'm just quickly pauses there, right? Forgot about this keeper. Villa have the third choice goalkeeper potentially playing on Monday night.
Yes.
And I think it's all important that our front three start peppering shots at him. Never played a Premier League game. Yes, I know he's played in the Championship, but that's a weak link that we can target.
It's not like Jack Anick though of a couple of years ago, and I'll be talking about Jack Anick later on. But it's not it's not like where it's like a really bad goalkeeper, like not ready for that level, like too young and things like that. This lad's an international, do you know what I mean? Like, I think he deserves to have a bit of respect on his name. He's not as bad as people think.
We'll soon find out on Monday night.
We'll find out. It's not like...
The issue is the communication, isn't it? And it's getting them relationships between your defence and your keeper. There may be a bit of nerviness, there may be some miscommunication at times.
I think that's our strength we can play to. Test him.
Advantage of that.
Yeah, for sure.
He has a worldie, fair play. Put your hand up.
Comments let we know. Do you think Aston Villa third choice goalkeeper is a problem for tomorrow? But personally, the reason I didn't mention it is because I think he needs a little bit more respect. I mean, you look towards West Ham, they got real goalkeeping errors. I thought, Roberto...
He's the worst goalkeeper in the league.
Roberto's not that bad. I've seen him play. Oh my god. Help. I mean, West Ham, we started a bit of a trend against West Ham, didn't we? Go 3-0 up in 50 minutes and score 2 late goals and make everybody have a bit of pride about them getting beat. But we made that cool. But that was the in-depth preview. If you enjoyed it, leave a comment, because I've seen a couple of comments saying we need a more tactical breakdown, things like that. So I hope I've been able to provide that. But in a couple of minutes, we're talking about the Newcastle roundup throughout the week, like Steve Harper getting the job, getting back into employment. Another Steve. But that'll be in a couple of minutes. So speak to you in a few.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Black and White Show. I'm joined by Rob, Paul and Lee, and I'm obviously your host, Kyle, as well.
Can I just jump in there? Because we've just had on Nova Radio a bit of Freddie Mercury, a bit of Queen playing at 28 years. The best frontman, he's up there with Alan Shearer.
Paul's been waiting to say this one all day.
I have.
He really has. I mean, I love Queen myself, but he's been
for the people listening at home, you didn't quite get Queen. You got some copyright-free music. Enjoy that as well.
Yes, copyright-free.
Sorry about that. We can't play Queen on live streams.
I mean, you prefer the copyright music to some of the other choices that we've had in recent months.
But we can't play that.
We can't play that either. I mean, I wouldn't want to, but. Moving on, in part 3, we've got the roundup of the week, and I'm going to start off with
the week.
What was that?
I don't know. We needed some sort of jingle for it, didn't we? The roundup of the week.
I mean, you can record them, mate, but they're not getting involved in any show anytime soon.
I don't do the.
But Steve Harper, he joins the many Steves of Steve Castle United, as someone tweeted the other day. He's back in he's a first team coach now, and obviously
not a goalkeeping coach.
No, not a goalkeeping coach. He's helping with the goalkeeping and things like that. But he's with Steve Agnew and Steve. What's the other one?
Clements.
Clements, that's the one.
Spelled with a PH, that one.
And obviously Bruce as well. Obviously the 4 Steves.
Don't get it wrong, mate.
Just need it, Alan.
As long as they don't have McLaren anywhere near it, because. That was the worst Steve I've ever seen.
Steve Taylor.
I mean, we've had a couple of bad Steves, but Steve Harper's definitely not one of them. Great servant.
Geordie DNA. What did I say, lads? What did I say? Geordie DNA.
He's a great servant to the club. Obviously, 199 appearances as a player. He could have had a way ton more for win for how great Shea Given was, and obviously Tim Krul towards his Newcastle days.
Even Shea Given played in his testimonial. Steve Harper couldn't play in his testimonial because Shea Given was there.
But it's not the first coaching role he's had at Newcastle. Obviously, he was with the younger setup as well, the under 18s and under 21 setup, working with the younger keepers as well. So he left a couple of months ago to pursue a job with Northern Ireland, wasn't it?
It was.
And obviously he's came back. So Lee, I'll come to you first. What is your first thoughts of Steve Harper coming back?
Interesting role. You automatically think, he's a goalkeeping coach, but he's going to link up with the under 23s predominantly. He's going to be that link guy. Effectively, he's going to be first team coach joining in. I think what he'll probably do is watch the other 3 Steves. God, how many Steves do you want? I think you'll watch the 3 Steves, how they get on, setting up, learning on the job, so to speak, but also predominantly work with getting, because Steve Bruce has said, and we've got a clip coming up, that he wants that link between the two, where he can go and find and unearth a Victor Fernandez, for example, and bring him to the first team. How can you do that? How can he be that guy? So it's an interesting role. Obviously, the youth development at the club has taken a massive change over the summer.
Yeah, and obviously recently with Neil Redfern leaving.
Redfern, Dawson coming back, which should have always been the case.
The bouncing worked out well, didn't it?
And of course, Shola, the loan coordinator, and so on. So it's taken a change. The club are trying to be better, which I've got no questions about. The Redfern thing, I know I'm coming off topic, was a bad appointment altogether. But going back to Harper, it's an interesting role. We'll see how long he stays in the role. Hopefully, he has no conflict of interest with his son being in it, because that's the reason why I left. And obviously the job at Northern Ireland, that's not going to be around because Michael O'Neill's stepping away. Obviously, depending how they get on in the playoffs, he's not going to have the 2 careers. He's going to pick Newcastle, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. But before I get Paul and Rob's opinion on it, I'm going to play Steve Harper's reaction to being made first team coach. And Leonie's Magical Computer, play the clip.
I spoke to the manager a while ago when he first got the job, and he said to me he'd like me to come in with a role around the first team, but more than just that. I'll officially be a first team coach, but with a conduit for keeping an eye on almost a link to the under 23s, which obviously I worked with last season as well, and the academy, which I've worked in various capacities for the last 3 years as well. So it made sense, and I'm looking forward to getting started.
You can link in with Stephen and Agus into the first team and the coaching. And then that crucial part to me is I want to know what's going on at the academy, and I want to know who's playing, and want to know the team and how they've got there. And so basically, I'm sure a big responsibility, and I'm sure you'll do very well. it wasn't that long ago that we were all working at Hull a few years ago, and so he knows them too, and he knows the environment, he knows the way they work, and I think he'll be a very, very good appointment for us. He's that sort of age is good. That new generation, forward way thinking can only be a good thing.
Steve Harper, two Steves. Speaking about one Steve.
Steve!
It's all about the Steves this week. But Paul, I'll come on to you. What's your take on Steve Harper being reappointed back in Newcastle? Because he became part of the furniture at the club, hasn't he, recently, over the past 20 years?
He has. He's just always been there. At the end of the day, I said over the summer when we were looking at things and how we would restructure, that I wanted a more Geordie DNA into the club. I stressed about the Ajax system, where they get ex-players to come back in, and they've got that connection with the fan. They've been there, they've done it, they can help the players because they know what the situations are like. So I'm all for the likes of Steve Harper coming in. Obviously, you're going to touch on Shola Amio being the likes, but the more people with an affinity and a connection to Newcastle who get it, the absolute better. And I see it being part of a wider thing where you bring in even the likes of your Kevin Nolans and that sort of individual who led the club, did really well as a player, got the qualifications and come in and can make the players better. As I say, just totally and utterly get it. But that Newcastle DNA, I'm so pleased to see some of that getting put into the club. It's been a long time coming, and it's on both sides. On the playing side, we see it more and more, and on the coaching side. But yeah, over the moon with this appointment.
Well, for me, it's not just that he's a local lad as well. It's that he's went away and got these qualifications as well. So, Rob, I'll come on to you before we move on to our next topic for the week. What's your final take on Steve Harper becoming a coach at Newcastle?
Legend. I think he's certainly since the back end of his playing career, he's been doing the coaching badges, doing everything he needs to do in order to become a really good qualified coach at such a high level. So I'm all for it. It's like what Paul says. It's really good to see someone who gets the club, who actually knows the club, knows how the fans function. It's the more of that we see of that, the better. I don't see it as being a move just to appease the fans. It's like he is qualified, and he is someone who is a much loved individual.
And he does a lot of stuff for the foundation.
Yeah, of course. He does do a lot for the foundation, along with like Sean Longstaff and Isaac Hayden do a lot for the foundation in particular. And Alan Saint-Maximin as well, especially with the food bank and that in recent weeks, and the foundation as well. But one thing Steve Harper does bring, he's obviously a seasoned pro. He's played a lot of years for Newcastle. I know he was a sub and things like that, but he gets how the club runs. He gets that. So
the managers he's looked at as well.
So for me, he can bring that to the table, and I think it's a great appointment by Bruce, in my opinion. But his experience can help the likes of Dubravka and that as well. So in all, good appointment from the coaching team at Newcastle.
I agree.
But on to our next topic, the Bowen link to the Hull City winger / striker. It just doesn't seem to be going away, does it? It's just one of them. It's just like a bad smell. It will not go away in the long run.
Every time you say that, I keep thinking about Bullseye. So I'm going to remind myself it's the actual Hull player that I'm on about,
but
not the 1980s quiz show.
We were linked with him throughout the summer, and again, it's coming up for January that we're rumoured to be paying around 17-18 million for his services, and
or it could be 180 million.
180 million. I don't think Mike Ashley would spend that in a 10-year period, let alone one.
As long as he can hit the target.
Of course, but he has been hitting the target, Rob, because he scored 10 goals in 17 games this season. Well, I've been proved wrong by Lee.
He scored 2 today.
Well, he scored 2 today then, so obviously as Lee's got the up-to-date...
no, you're right, he scored 12, 1 in the Cup and 11 in the league, isn't it?
He's been very prolific, and even as he's not even a central striker either, he's playing just off the striker. He's playing a bit like a Mutu would or a Gale would for us, like just off a main striker or a hold-up striker.
Well, you should mention him, because he's going to be off, isn't he, at the looks of it, so we are...
Yeah, it is something I am going to come across. But before I do, would any of you take Bowen?
If you get rid of Jacob Murphy or Land Aaron's, yeah.
Would you?
Oh, he's an upgrade. You might say, okay, he's another Championship player. We've done that with Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy's not banging in 20 goals a season from out wide, is he?
He did all right at Norwich before we signed him.
But I think he is an upgrade, but I think he'll be an understudy to Almiron and saint-maximin.
Is he? The only thing is
he an upgrade on that too? Yes.
Well, just what anything is, in my opinion, for 11 months of the year. But he's not a striker, and it's the lead striker. It's the Rondon-esque striker that we are missing from this team. That isn't one. We've got Andy Carroll and Dwight Gale, and for whatever reason, they are not getting played. So yeah, I would like to take him in, and I think we'd have to do some juggling about. But I still think the priority would be to get somebody as a focal point of that attack, or to help Joe Linton or something like that. It's a lot of money.
He's very quick mind, Bowen. I think he would be able to get service into him and also get a couple of goals himself. But as we've had with Jacob Murphy, as we've had with Dwight Gale and players like that, some of them struggle to make the upgrade to the Premier League. Obviously, we've seen recently like Sir James Maddison and people like that being able to blossom in the Premier League with the questions hanging over them, can they make it in the Premier League? But Rob, I'll come to you. Would you take Jared Bowen?
I'm all for it as a player. Of course, a lot would depend on the price tag, how much that we could spend on him in January, how much of that would affect the transfer budget going into the new season in the summer.
Yeah.
Would you leverage any of that Aaron's and Murphy money though?
But how much are we realistically?
Probably only going to get about 5 million for Murphy, aren't you?
Yeah, and for Aaron's, I think we'd be looking to get 3 million.
Do you see what ASM said? He was being promised that we will be investing in every single window, so there's obviously plenty of money.
Well,
ASM also wants a full stadium, but we can't have all that, can we?
I mean, the less we say about that, the better. Because if he watches this, then he's going to be very disappointed in the promises that he's being promised.
But yeah, I'd be happy with Bowen, but if that prevents us getting a good marquee signing in the summer, then I would be very hesitant over this.
But as I said before, obviously like Gale and people like that, and even Mutu, who hasn't had a look in since the League Cup game against Leicester, if Bowen was to come in, could you see Gale, Mutu, or even the two, both of them together, making way to bring him through the door, which wouldn't affect the budget that Rob's touched on before and things like that? So would you say, would you offload Mutu and offload Dwight Gale to bring in Bowen? Paul?
I think there's other players there. I think you could get rid of Mutu quite easily for a couple of million.
I think he could go to Germany for the price we paid for him, to be honest.
So again, that's a decent amount of money coming in. And then Murphy, again, you're going to get a couple of million maybe for him, ship him out. Atsu, I think, could be dispense with his services quite easily, and potentially even Aaron's. Obviously, we've got a decision to make about them. The wages saved, the money banked. You could see us doing that and going for, again, what's been said consistently by the club. It's quality over quantity. So you're getting rid of a few players there, but how much are they actually offering Newcastle? Not very much. So yeah, I'm tempted to bring him in, but you would have to shift probably 3 or 4 players out.
Personally, I think if we got rid of Dwight Gale and got rid of Mutu, I think that would raise the 18 million around that mark. Because
I'd be scared to get rid of Gale because it strikes it.
I wouldn't bring him in I wouldn't bring him in because he's a winger effectively. So you're gonna have to get rid of 2 or 3 wingers. I think he's an upgrade on Atsu, Murphy, and Aaron's. I think he is an upgrade because he's scoring goals.
So 18 million for someone to be behind Almiron.
And someone off the bench. You look at that bench, you think, oh, Chris Natsu. You know what you're going to get. He's a worker.
Do you know, did Ari against Tottenham?
Is he going to do all right against Villa? I bet you say you don't know.
I don't know.
Exactly. But you want consistency, didn't you? And I think he would be a step up. He's scoring goals. I mean, the day I watched him against Middlesbrough, the goal he scored from outside the box with his wrong foot rocketed. And then the other one was like a
Is that
poacher.
the 2-0 lead that took away?
Yeah.
Right.
And then
he's going to have good contacts in that club as well, Bruce.
Poaching, yeah. And then you could say, okay, we'll take him. Whatever fee, we'll give you such and such on loan. Or plus a
To be fair, that's something they could do. Aaron's and Dwight Gale could be an example. We'll give you them if we get Bowen. I mean, whatever they want to go with. We'll probably get him on loan.
Yeah, striker Eves is awful. Tom Eves is not a good striker, put it that way.
Not enough Conword needed.
Yeah.
Then. But one word answer before we move on to the third and final bit for the roundup for the week. Jared Bowman, yes or no, Rob?
Maybe.
Thanks, Rob.
You said
See that
one
fence? Where's the fence? You need to sit on that.
You said one word. You said one word.
Okay, Rob's a maybe. Paul?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. So we've got 3 yeses and a maybe. Comments there is no, would you take Jared Bowen in January and how would you go about playing him? But the third and final topic I've got this week is Elias Sorensen. The lad, since moving to Carlisle, hasn't really worked out for him yet again. And it's been frustrating because he's only had 11 appearances and only managed 2 assists in that time. He hasn't scored or anything.
He scored in a reserve cup competition.
Yeah, he scored for the reserves or something.
Goodness me, it's crazy.
It just hasn't worked out for him since that first loan move last season to Blackpool, where he didn't get played, and then he's been sent out on another loan where it hasn't worked out. Rob, I'll come to you first. What happens? What do you do with Elias Sorensen? Do you recall him and try and find somewhere else, or do you put him back into the under 23s? Like, this lad had the whole hype machine behind him with the under 23s scoring 23 goals in 25 games or something like that for the under 23s, and it's just flopped to where he's not getting any game time, Rob.
I do think first team football at a lower level is better than reserve team football, but right now, for the sake of his confidence, I think we need to recall him, bring him back to the under 23s. Because that's where he couldn't stop banging the goals in last season.
He was scoring against league sides as well.
Yeah, in the what's the trophy thing that
the Trafalgar Square Phillip trophy. Oh wait, that's Sunday.
Yeah. So it's one of those obscure cup competitions that our reserve side is in, that Sunderland's first team is in. But yes, we need to bring Sorensen back, put him in the reserves. Who knows? He might even get in the FA Cup game if we get a
Why
a decent
are we different
draw.
though? Why are we different? You've got a lone arranger there, surely, and we seem to be differing and just not take any decisive action. It's like he's gone on holiday for a month, surely.
Well, that was one of my later points, Paul. Do you think Shola deserves to take a little stick for it? Because for me, he's been brought in to sort these loan moves out, so the lads in development aren't stagnating their careers at these clubs. And for me, if Elias Sorensen's having the same problems, then what difference is Shola actually making?
He's been to see him once. He had a word with the manager at the time,
and the manager's changed since then.
Yeah, and obviously the manager's changed, and it could be. Have they appointed yet? Because I think Michael Bridges was one of the favourites, wasn't he?
They're still talking about. They're still going into room in charge at the moment.
But to me, you're wasting time. You are different about decisive action. I would rather that you take it. You say it's not working. We'll get him back and we'll integrate them into our side. Because I felt over the summer it was a big call. Do we let him go out or do we keep him around the squad? He's clearly a talented player. He's not getting even opportunities.
And he's good enough to get them as well.
He is. And like you said, he's scoring against league opposition. So that move isn't working for him. Don't waste another half a season. Get him back. Get him in our reserve team. Get him playing some games. And then again, readdress it in January when you can do. And look to move him out. There's got to be somewhere where he'll be able to get an opportunity. But sitting on the bench, sitting in the stands, is doing nothing. All that's happening is you're affecting his confidence and you're stagnating his development. So surely, big time, has got an issue and a problem there. That is your job to sort these problems out.
Yeah.
We had them last season, we brought you in, and we're still having the same problems. So justify your wages, surely, and do something about it.
I'll give him credit for the Aaron's loan move. The Aaron's loan move worked out really well for Shola, and I give him credit for that, for making that happen. But with Elias Sorensen, this lad's got a lot of talent there, and I really think he needs a good loan move. I mean,
I feel passionately about it because he could be a first team player within no time at all. But he's got to get something under his belt.
Yeah, for sure. If there's like a lower league club that you would opt for him to go to, who would you go for?
For me personally, I'll keep the way it is. I'll tell you why. Because we need to see who's the manager. For me,
it's going to be Michael Bridges.
See who comes in, and it might just change for him all of a sudden.
Well, I hope something comes from him, because it's not fair on him being sent out to 2 lower league clubs and not get played.
So the problem that he's got, that he's playing all the EFL Cup games. He's playing them, but they're like a demeanour competition. And
he
then
he's playing under 23s.
But he is playing games, but the problem that he's playing 1 in every 2, and that every 1 and 2 is 5 to 10 minutes. That's
Yeah,
it.
it's not good enough.
So he is playing, but it's not enough
So
for
for
his
me,
development.
they've got to play Elias Sorensen a
So
lot more.
my hopes are that whoever gets appointed as the manager then starts to play him, and then because Shola is monitoring it, I think he'll be recalled and possibly play a couple of games if he doesn't play with the under-23s and then sent back out again.
Yeah.
You want a decent stadium with decent facilities to get these players so they're not picking up injuries and knocks and strain that is going to hamper them the rest of the career.
I think first team
So
football is just the
decent
main thing.
Yeah,
for
and
me.
just get him in and get him in there. There's got to be league clubs, in the likes of League One, the third division that is, who are desperate for a goal scorer. I mean, I can't think of any that jump to mind right now. Who needs a goal
Yeah,
scorer?
Will Brick's doing fantastic at the moment, isn't he?
I've just got to read out this comment about Rob. Robert's quite funny.
Yeah.
So says, I would hate to be in line in the fish and chip shop behind Rob. Salt and vinegar, yes, no, yes, no.
Be fair enough.
Fair enough.
But I think with Sorensen, it's quite simple. You need to put him in, quality-wise, you need to put him in a League One or League Two side. I think geographically it has to be in the north of England. So do you guys know any League One or League Two sides in the north?
He's not going to flipping Sunderland, mate.
No.
Well,
No way.
Again, Carlisle's only like a 45-minute drive from here, so if the manager comes in...
What about Blythe Spartans League, Clark? I know it's a lower...
That's going way down. Carl Roberts like killing it there, and he's like too good for that level.
Exactly.
What about Joey Barton's team, Fleetwood?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Morecambe.
Yeah.
Morecambe's in the north.
They a good northern side, not far for sure that to travel in the car. So obviously we know as much as anyone how much the travel kills. But
push it as far as to say South Yorkshire, even there.
South Yorkshire?
Camera looks at Paul.
Camera does look at Paul.
Yeah.
But
there's plenty of decent teams down there. And the thing is, even nicer Barnsley, right?
Barnsley could do with it.
They could do with a goal scorer. So why not
they're
give
terrible
him?
at the moment.
Give him a. I mean, I've had the father-in-law complaining and whinging that they
Oh,
don't
not
have
the
a
famous
goal scorer.
father-in-law.
Yeah.
We'll have to get him on the show one week.
We'll have to.
Oh, it could be worse than the ASM. You've got to be careful. He's colourful language. But if we could get a club like a Barnsley or like a Rotherham where it's decent facilities, I mean, the training facilities I've used it up well for teams that I've actually managed, nudge nudge, and then we again down at the New York Stadium, teams like that would be absolutely perfect. Still not too far away from Newcastle. Keep an eye on them. Good facilities, good training places, decent stadiums, and very vocal supporters who are going to get in his back if he doesn't do the right thing, and it's going to get him used to eventually, hopefully, when he comes back to Newcastle and he is playing. Because I think he, along with Fernandes and one or two of the others, he is destined for the first team.
Well, I think Paul's hit the nail on the head, lads. I think that's a perfect way to round up the NUFC roundup for the week. And in part 4, we're going to be talking about the worst Newcastle United team of the decade. So in terms of all the serious stuff, that's out of the way now for the week. We've talked about Aston Villa away tomorrow.
Get your emails in.
Get your emails in. Get your comments in the chat, because it's going to be a good one. We'll speak to you in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Gary Jules, Mad World. We are coming up to Christmas. We are 1 month away until Christmas Eve. And of course, if you remember, 16 years ago, goodness me, it's making me feel old, Gary Jules with Mad World. That was Christmas #1 in 2003. So Kyle, over to you.
Yes, welcome back to part 4 of the Black and White Show. I'm joined by Rob with his fantastic #1 from 2003. Paul and Lee, and the serious stuff is out of the way. So for us, at least, I'm hoping it's going to be fun. This one, picking the worst Newcastle United team of the decade. And I'm expecting a couple of laughs here, and I'm happy Paul this year in particular.
Can we start with Owner?
Well, there's only been one, so, and even then, if there was 2 or 3, he'd be the resounding candidate to win that one, to getting worst team or part of the club of the year. But as always, I'm going to go for a simple 4-4-2, and let's start with the goalkeeper. The 2 candidates I have is Jack Anik and Matt Sells. Rob, I'll come to you first.
Okay, it's rock, paper, scissors on those. But then Sells...
No, there's a winner. One cost
actually, come to think of it, Sells did have an all-right run. I remember whilst he was in goal, we went a full month without conceding a goal.
Was that like pre-season?
During the off-season.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say that. But yeah, it was. He had a couple of games. Wolves was one of them where it just started to all fall apart for him, and then we brought Darlow in.
He's a goalkeeper who can't catch.
So I think it has to be Sells on the basis that Anik, he was always going to be third choice goalkeeper. Sells, on the other hand, he was brought in and expected to be #1 goalkeeper for the whole season.
We paid money. For one of these.
Yeah.
Goodness me, man.
Good money as well.
It has to be Matt Sells on that one for me.
So Rob chooses Matt Sells. Paul, are you in agreement, Matt Sells?
100%, yeah. I mean, you've got one who's a kid thrust in, thrown in, that's one thing, and you're not up to the standard or whatever. And then you've got Matt Sells, who people are bigging up, we're paying millions of pounds for, and he's a goalkeeper who just can't catch. Couldn't do anything. It was just ridiculous. I could have literally jumped over there and done a better job myself. So
Belgium's third choice goalkeeper.
Garbage.
He got in the Belgian Belgian League Team of the Year as well, Matt Sells.
Pub Team of the Year.
Oh, it's got to be Matt Sells, hasn't it? He's got to be.
I wouldn't have him in the side team.
Jack Anik, yes, he played 4 or 5 games and never seen him again, but he was a local lad and didn't cost him a single penny. Whereas we spent money, months and months in scouting of Matt Sells.
Cost me hair. That's the worst of crime.
One of Rafa's worst ever buys.
It was Rafa's first signing as well.
One of his worst.
But Lee, are you going with?
Yeah, got to put Matt Sells in for me.
Right. Well, I would have said Jack Anik because I thought he was really bad over them 9 games, but I'd be voted and regardless. So
he had a good first 40 minutes. It was against Chelsea, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Rob Elliott got injured at the end of the first half.
I remember because I was at the game. I was in level 7, and I thought because Jack Anik was warming up, and I'm like, oh, look at Jack Anik. I know he's second choice. I know he's second choice at the moment, but it's good to see him warming up and things like that. It's really good to see. And then 5 minutes later, he's coming on like, oh no. I was only joking about the warm up thing. You come on, but I'm gonna go Matt Sells because he was supposed to come in, really challenge Carl Darlow and Rob Elliott for that #1 spot, and 5 games later he was kind of weeded out, and that was it. But Matt Sells in goal. Have got the right backs. This was actually quite difficult because we've had a couple of good right backs over the decade. We've had Danny Simpson, we've had Matteo Debussy, we've had Janma, we've got DeAndre Yedlin now. So they're like in terms of things quite solid. So the ones that I've got Jamie Sterry, Daryl Janma in that, the worst of the bunch of the best that I've just said. James Perch and Emil Croft. So
we got Perch.
But he didn't play his best football at right back. He first came to Newcastle, played right back, and didn't do very well. His best position for Newcastle was centre defensive midfield.
The only reason why we signed him is because in March 2010 we were at home to Nottingham Forest. And Perch was the only defender. It was the only opposing right back, to have kept Gutierrez quiet for 60 minutes that season. So that's the only reason why we signed him.
I think Perch played better when he was moved to a different position.
Yeah, centre defensive midfield. That's when we got the best out of him. But could we make an argument for Jamie Sterry? Because the failure I have with Jamie is He's a brilliant lad, as I've said before. But
Shouts out to us, doesn't he, Carl, on Twitter?
Yeah. We both wished him happy birthday the other day, and happy belated wishes as well. But I think the fear when, in particular, the past couple of seasons when Manquillo and Yedlin were really feeling it was his time to shine, kind of thing. And he just didn't. He failed to really break in.
24 now, isn't he?
It's kind of been too late for him. So I think if he's going to warrant a spot, the argument will be the failure again to the team at that point. And the last one I've got is Emil Croft. I mean, I think I think his performances haven't been good, but obviously he needs a bit of time to prove we're wrong as well. So I'm gonna put Emil Croft as in any. I don't think it's fair to vote. But who are you going for, Rob? Firstly,
come back to me.
Right, okay, Paul.
Well, I'd have gone for Kraft straight away. I would have just said, no, I just can't see you're not a professional footballer. But given the fact Jamie Sterry's had 24, and from recent memory, I've seen some pretty bad ones, the likes of Charvet. I've seen Alessandro Pistoni play on the right hand side and play as a right back. That was terrible. But yeah, I think Jamie Sterry in that time frame that you're given, I think he's just not up to it. Sadly, seems a nice bloke, lovely lad, but is he up to it? No.
I'm gonna disagree personally. I'm gonna go with James Perch. I think I'm not gonna say James Perch deserves to be like in the worst 11 when he was at his best, but when we brought him in as a right back, as a second to Danny Simpson, and when Danny Simpson obviously got his major injury that he got when he played for Newcastle, Perch came in and he was really bad. And it took.
I struggle though, Kyle, when there's got a song. You know, it's the same with Warren Barton, centre part, and I do like a good song to sing.
When he came, because obviously the fans wanted his back at a lot of that time, and then he came in and started putting in some really good performances as centre defensive midfield. I'm saying as a right back, should James Perch be there? I think he should be personally. So I'm going to go with James Perch as a right back. I think he had a good Newcastle career towards the end as a centre defensive mid, but as a right back, what we're signing him for? No.
Yeah.
So Lee, I'm going to get
Manquillo.
your team. You're going to go Manquillo?
I'm going Manquillo.
Wow.
Although he's been consistent the past year, I would say, this calendar year. The first year and a half, I used to really, really worry about him being in that side, and he used to cost me a lot of sloppy marking. So I'm going to put my neck on the line. The last 10 years, I'll say Manquillo, but a couple of shouts in the two people have mentioned Jesus Gamas. There's a shout there.
Maybe.
In the comments there, but I'm going to say Manquillo. Although he has the last year been much improved, that first 18 months I used to worry so much about him.
Gamas, he had a decent, was it?
Come to think of it, I'm thinking Gamas.
Swansea had a really good game.
He had one good game.
Just injured all the time, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean he was fantastic for Madrid and stuff. But
you know what? That's the beauty of the comments. It can change your mind.
That's ZD Vlogs. Cheers for that.
I'm gonna go with Jesus Gamas then as a right back.
Manquillo.
Perch.
I can say sorry. If I'm going to have the deciding vote between those absolute beauties, I'm going to say Manquillo.
Yes, you have here.
So Manquillo is officially the worst right back in the decade. On to the defenders now. Two of the defenders. I've got quite a batch here. I've got Mike Williamson, Curtis Good, Sol Campbell, Yangan Biwa, Stephen Taylor. I'll open the floor straight to Paul. What do you think?
Mbia and Campbell would be my two straight away. Campbell coming in here, big time Charlie. I'm not having it. So I would put Sol Campbell in. Not for his entire career, but his time at Newcastle definitely. And Mbia. Oh my word.
Yes.
All that money again. Just literally flushed. So
I'd definitely agree with Sol Campbell, but got to make a case for Curtis Good, surely. Because
he's injured all the time. Again,
Well, living.
He wasn't injured though, he was there. He just
always seemed to be unavailable.
I think we're saying him from
one of the Melbourne sides.
There was hope there that he might be able to do something, but for me, I think Yangan Biwa and Sol Campbell are the two, because Yangan Biwa came in with this reputation. I remember one in a game in particular where Romelu Lukaku at Everton. Oh my word, he had his life that night. And I think Lukaku scored 2 or 3 goals in the first half.
Yangan
Biwa had to get taken off.
He was the captain when Montpellier won the French League and title in 2012.
I think he's the heart of a cat. And when you got at the back, it's the heart of a lion.
Hey, I'd let you know, my cats have beautiful hearts, big hearts.
Well, yeah, no, if you compare the likes of, I don't know, compare the likes of Lascelles at his best, compare the likes of Fernandes at his best, sitting there, roaring, jumping into tackles, taking a pride in not letting players go past you, and then he's just prancing about, letting players go left, right and centre, no positional awareness, nothing like that. He come from France, and if that's not a warning to the fact that we should buy some homegrown players as well, Newcastle, some players who are Premier League proven. I don't know what it is, but to me, just the money as well comes into it. The price tags do affect what you should expect, out of these players.
Fair enough. Well, the two I've went for is Sol Campbell and Yang Nambiwa. I think Sol Campbell came in with a big name, did absolutely nothing in his first year at Newcastle, and his attitude stunk as well. Didn't do Chrissy Hughton any favours at all. So they're my two. Rob?
Yang Nambiwa, definitely. And yeah, I've been trying to rack my brains over who could partner him, and I can't look beyond Sol Campbell.
I looked at it every season, mate. They're the two worst for me.
Titus Bramble's getting some hammering, obviously, in the comments.
Did he play 22?
No,
not
he left
the
in
last
2007.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that would
well,
be the reason why.
Titus
Obviously, Titus Bramble
if Titus
awful.
Bramble was in those teams, believe me, he would have been selected.
We've had some corkers lately, like Kapaka and players like that
Boomsong.
over the Boomsong.
I
We've
have
had
to agree
some
with you
awful-
with Campbell.
awful
Yeah,
ones.
right.
Campbell-
Let's move on to left back. I think,
Campbell and good to me.
I think the two that we selected is Sol Campbell and Yang Nambiwa. At left back, yeah, it's quite easy for me. Argafazar. I had Haidara in there as well, but Argafazar's the worst left back I have ever seen.
He's a great catalogue model, but yeah, that's where it stops. He is not, again, has he got the heart? Has he got the desire? Has he got the hunger? Has he got the skills? No, he does not. He's stolen money from Newcastle United, and goodness knows where he is at the moment. Italy or somewhere, isn't it? Serie B?
Yeah,
we have Emmanuel.
I feel for Hadara a little bit because
Yeah,
he was talent there.
That
It
injury.
was the challenge on
McManaman.
McManaman.
There's
on-
talent there and he's great going forward. Not so much defensively, but in the modern day football,
He was an exciting
he was.
prospect.
He had talent. It's just injuries consistently wrecked his Newcastle. Granny's doing all right, and then he was
Yeah,
it the goal
yeah,
Le
he
Mans?
Yeah, he's not doing too bad. He scored last week. Actually, I seen on his Instagram. But Lazard left back.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah.
I'm going to get through these a bit quicker now, so we've only got 10 minutes left. So, right midfield, the two I've got is Gabriel Obertan and Florian Thauvin. Who you've got?
Tovan, even Obertan came up with the occasional gem of a performance, even with a decent
Obertan
run of
did more.
form. Yeah, Tovan, a brilliant debut, scored one, assisted the other three
my God.
against
It's like the
Northampton,
trick and treat.
and then after that, just one disaster after another. Just felt like putting his toe in a van to go back to France.
Yeah.
Thauvin for me. Has to be
It has to
Thauvin.
be Thauvin.
Despite him being-
He was hopeless, wasn't he?
McLaren didn't know how to clue
I
how to
really think
train him.
Rafa would have got something out of him, but he left before any chance.
I think we acted certainly too hastily, and I said this, and I've said this all along. I look at Obertan. Oh my word! You should just just run out past the corner flag, keep on running, run into the car park. Didn't realise where he was. No positional sense, no crossing. Yeah, he scored a few here and there, and he had his pace. But he was brought in as the next David Beckham at Man United and stuff. Never. Absolutely never. Garbage. Honestly, absolutely garbage.
I couldn't have put better myself, mate, to be honest. Right, so we're going with Florian Thauvin.
Yeah.
Right midfield, for sure. Right, centre midfield, I've got a couple here. I'm going to drop a couple of names. Dan Gosling, Mehdi Abid, Saive, Bigger Imona, Siem de Jong, Jack Colback.
Savvy.
Saive
You've
makes
got to
sense.
go
As soon
him.
as you said
haven't
them
you?
names, that was the first one that was
'Cause
just
he's-
picking away.
Picking up 30 grand and he's played about 6 games and loaned out for like 2.5 of them. So
Well, the two I'm going to go for, it's between two. Saive is one of them, and I'm going between Siem de Jong and Jack Colback. I think I might go with Siem de Jong.
I'm going to go Colback.
Colback, yeah.
I think Colback because, again, quite similar to Savvy the last 2.5 years, he's done now for the club and he fell out and wouldn't leave. Done all right. He started off well. He got an England call up, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then got injured and
He had a
didn't
really
eat.
good first season.
He had a great first
Just
season.
seems that he wants to fleece the club. When he's loaned out, he's gone out. It feels like he's done it because he's had to, and I think he's just happy there, just sitting, collecting the wage packet. But your career is short, and I think he should have been a player who got out there and got another move on and said, that's it. For the sake of my career, I want to move on. But interested in the calling, and that's all. It seems
Still
to be
here as well.
interested in.
So Rob, Saive and Colback for your worst team of the decade, for the worst centre midfielders of the decade?
Survey, but for me, Shen de Jong has to go in there.
Did he play centre mid though?
Yes, he did actually.
Attacking
mid.
mid.
For me, he played further forward.
Yeah, like it was for De Jong, disasters on the pitch, disasters off the pitch.
Can we just put both the De Jong to strikers then?
I don't think you'll choose him with what I've got installed. So I'm gonna go with Saive and Colbeck.
I think that's
Saive and Colbeck.
Left midfield, I've got Marvo, Amalfitano, Gouffran, and Sami Amiobi. So I'm gonna open up and say Amalfitano because I think it was a case where we signed the wrong brother. Because obviously West Ham a couple of years later brought in Morgan Amalfitano and he did okay for them.
You know, when we signed Marvo, Liverpool were after him, and he was like, everybody was raving about him, and when we signed him, was really, really excited.
He was compared to Ben Arthur, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
there's talent there.
But I think Mr. McGill made that comparison.
There was talent again, injuries.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even involved with the scandal with the tax recently as well.
So
for me, I'm going to go Sammy.
Why?
Yeah.
Because there was so much promise there, and he never fulfilled it.
In one of the seasons where he led in assists.
What season was that? But I mean, it's like there was so much more, and it was so let down when you seen Sammy Obi, is that word? It's easy for me to say it. When I
saying Amiobi wrong.
When I see him in the lineup, I don't get excited. I'm like, oh.
He was for me. He was a one-trick pony.
Exactly right.
He could only do one thing, and that was sort of try and
go around
the outside.
I'm saying Sammy.
So Sammy Amiobi or Marvo. I'm gonna say Sammy actually. Sammy over Marvo because Marvo had that game at Old Trafford, didn't he? Where he played really well. Paul, who are you going for? Sammy or Marvo?
I think Marvo, because I expected more of him when we signed him. When Amiobi came into the team, I wasn't expecting much. To be fair, because I thought, everything shoulder offered and stuff like that, you're bound to not have sort of similar quality players. I was expecting more of Marvo, so I was more disappointed about Marvo. Therefore, I put Marvo in.
So we've got 2 for Sammy and 1 for Marvo. Who are you going for, Rob?
It's got to be Sammy.
Sammy, right. So Sammy makes left.
There's a notable mention there, Fabrice Pancrat.
Yeah.
In the championship, what was that? 09?
I think it was 09.
Still technically.
I think he just missed the cut because I think he played for Newcastle in the early part of that season and didn't play in 2010. So, because I thought about putting him in.
We've had some garbage, just haven't we?
But the strikers, and I think the strikers before we wrap up is it's the most entertaining, to be fair. I'm going to drop the strikers. Now. Emmanuel Riviere, Luke de Jong, Joselu, Cisco, Cucci, Seydou Doumbia.
Mine's easy as well.
Yeah. Who?
The 2 on screen, Manuel Riviere and Cisco. I mean, he was here for about 5 years and was loaned out and scored on his debut, never seen again. Scared to put his foot on the pitch. Emmanuel Riviere, again, another one. Signed for 6 million.
You're playing.
The only goal he scored was when he miskicked it off his own foot and looks in. I mean, that says it all.
And we still got beat that day.
And both of them are absolutely. We spent about 12 million on the 2 then.
I managed to make Joselu look good in that list. He was probably the best player. Luke de Jong, Doumbia, and whatnot.
At least, he wasn't the best striker, but he put the effort in and he put the craft in, and people
that gets it over
give
the
you a little bit of credit for that, so it pushes them ahead.
So we're going with Riviere and Cisco.
Yeah,
right.
Worst 11 lineup. Could you just put all of them in?
I've only got 11 players, mate.
Put all of the strikers.
Play them out of position.
Just play them out of position.
But the squad we've got is Matt Sells, Manquillo, Sol Campbell, Yangan, Biwa, Lazar, Taubin, Saivet, Colbeck, Sammy Amiobi, Riviere, and Cisco. Manager. Who would be the manager? Steve McLaren or John Carver? Quickly, because I only have 2 minutes.
Goodness me.
It's got to be McLaren. McLaren
for me, yeah.
Carver didn't take her down, at least.
Yeah.
Right. Steve McLaren, then. We're sticking with the Steves. But,
and he's Rolly.
I mean, a couple of honourable mentions could be, it's strike I forgot to mention Facundo Ferreira, if any of you remember him. I could have went with Pancreat as well in right midfield, but he just missed out. I thought about putting Porcher was like a thingy for the managers, but I think he's starting to get like a found respect now because of what he managed to do in a couple of years. The club finishing 5th and things like that. People don't forget things like that.
Under that regime as well.
I know. With I know he had a toxic ending, but I don't think he deserved to be.
If you stretch that a little bit further out, maybe a year or 2, I'll put Joe Kinnear in there.
Maybe if it was worst team of the century so far,
Yeah.
jokingly, I would have been in the running. He would have definitely got director of football. I mean, my God, judge me on my signings like Remy on loan and then resigns after 2 months. My God, I think he was just brought in as a deflector for the blame that year, to be honest. But that's our team. Comments? Is there any honourable mentions in the comments there?
Remy Cabella.
I forgot all about Remy Cabella. But
That's a good shout by Jordan.
Yeah.
Ooh, would you put him over Talvin then quickly?
No.
No,
Talvin
no.
for me.
Talvin way worse. But Cabella was a good shout actually. I didn't think of him. Any others?
Luke de Jong, his brother, who would
Yeah, Luke de Jong was a part
Riviere
of the
gets in.
Nile Ranger.
Philip mentions Samuel
Nile Ranger. Nile Ranger over
did all right in the championship though, didn't he? Ranger
Yeah, but
he had no end product.
got a couple of goals. It was
No,
it was his
Chelsea.
break. It was his breakthrough season that year, wasn't it?
True. So just to wrap up, our team is Matt Sells, Manquillo, Sol Campbell, Yang Ambiwa, Lazard, Tovan, Sivert, Colback, Sammy Amiobi, Riviere, and Cisco, managed by Steve McLaren.
That's going
Fills you
down.
with dread.
Chefsky Cucci.
That's
It
the
just
end.
gets worse.
That's the end of the Black and White show this week. Obviously, we've rounded up the Aston Villa game. We've spoke about the roundup, and we've obviously got our team, our worst team of the decade. Obviously, at some point we'll do the best team of the decade next time I'm presenting. That's something I'm going to look to
Gonna win
have.
tomorrow.
Over the next couple of days, obviously we've got the videos from the Villa game, the drive down, things like that. So pay attention to that. We've also got an interview next week. I'll be interviewing the lads at Tune for Change. That's why I'm wearing this scarf. About what they're about and everything like that. There's that coming up. So there's that all to look forward to on the channel this week. I've been your host, Kyle Thompson, with Rob, Paul and Lee, and that's been the Drop Black and White show. So yeah, I'll catch you in a bit.
We don't